Hey everybody, welcome back to Look at This Reviews and Rants. My name is Rob, and today I want you to look at this. It's our Jeep Gladiator Mojave. I understand. If you're subscribed to the channel, if you've watched some of our past videos, you will have looked at this already a few times. I get it. But today is kind of a milestone video because in our short period of ownership, we've actually put 10,000 miles on this thing already. Just turned it over last week. And in that 10,000 miles, we've done a lot of stuff with this thing. We've hauled stuff. In fact, I've got a motorcycle in the bed right now. We've towed an enclosed trailer with a full load, basically coast to coast. And we've taken several family trips. My wife, my two kids and I in this thing. And that's given us all a list of things that we love about this vehicle and also a list of things that frankly we loathe about it. Now we knew going in this is an imperfect vehicle, and that's fine. It's part of the charm. It's a Jeep thing. But today I'm going to talk about first the top 3 things that we loathe about this Jeep Gladiator, and then I'm going to come back and pat it on the butt and tell you about the 3 things that we love about the Gladiator. Stay tuned. The first thing that I cannot stand about this Gladiator, there is no hiding it. It gets absolutely horrible gas mileage. We have averaged just under 16 miles per gallon over the 10,000 miles that we've driven this thing. Granted, we've done some towing, we've done some hauling, but that's not where the impact's coming in. Even with nothing attached to this, I struggle to get over 16 miles per gallon. A lot of that has to do with the 33-inch tires, the fact that it's lifted a little bit. Even our Ranger, when we lifted it, we put the 33s on it, that made a huge impact on fuel economy. So if you're planning to get a Gladiator and you're still worried about fuel economy, well, first of all, those 2 things don't really go together because this is a brick and you're pushing a lot of wind down the road in the first place. But if you're planning on getting one for fuel economy, get one like a Sport or an Overlander or something with the smaller wheels and tires on it that's not lifted. You're going to get a little bit better economy. I've seen people getting low 20s with these, but they are trying. And again, they have trims that have much different suspension and wheel packages on them. A quick note also on fuel economy. This is a manual transmission Jeep. If you weren't aware of that, go back and watch my manual transmission video, ding here. Check that out, and you'll see in that video that I said you cannot drive this stick shift for fuel economy like you normally would with any other manual transmission. You really have to wrap it up, wrap the engine up to get going anywhere. And even when you're on the highway, it behooves you to be in a lower numerical gear so that you have some torque available. Otherwise, you just keep the pedal mashed to the floor in 6th gear drinking fuel as you bog the engine down. It's kind of a weird thing. So the transmission doesn't make as big an impact on fuel economy as you might think. Welcome to the interior of our Gladiator. This is where the next couple complaints come into play. Now, first of all, I'm sitting here in my nicely bolstered seat. The Mojave has nice seats in it. I feel good. I have this beautiful steering wheel in front of me. And on the steering wheel, I have thumb slots at the 10 and 2 position, and I have bumps, you know, it's asking me to grab it there. When I do that, my elbow on the left side is right against the door panel, and my right side elbow is almost impeding on the passenger side. In fact, if I turn the wheel, I hit the center console. I am really just, I'm in a truck version of a Mazda Miata. Now, for better and for worse. Now, the reason a Miata is narrow is because it's a fun car and you want to rip through corners and really thread the needle through traffic or at autocross or whatever you're doing with that Miata. And so a Jeep is narrow for the same reason, because when you're on a trail or you're on a cliffside road, you want the most narrow vehicle possible. And a Jeep Wrangler, Jeep Gladiator, those are the most narrow things on the market. It's by design. And after all, that's why you have fenders that stick out of the side of these things to accommodate the tires, because they're just kind of tacked on those big wide axles compared to the narrow body. Shoot, even the rear view mirrors are narrow on these because, you know, it's less stuff to catch on the side of the canyon or the tree branches sticking out when you're on the trail. So it's, yes, by design. And I do have a tilt and telescoping wheel, so I have a lot of range of adjustment here. But even then, man, I just hit my arms on these different things all over the place. So I end up just setting my arm on the door and using one hand to cruise down the road. My elbow gets fatigued because that's hard plastic. It's a pet peeve of mine. I don't understand why automakers do this, but there you have it. Now I will tell you this, in the back seat, things are a lot better. My kids are happy back there. Not only do you have vents in the center and USB and a 110 outlet, but they have more space back here than they did in our 2019 Ranger. more legroom, more headroom, and despite being a little closer together, they are just more comfortable and happier in this, generally speaking. Okay, so I'm in my tight little cocoon here, and I want to talk about the number 3 thing that I loathe about this vehicle. That's all the noise. All the noise in here going down the road, guys. Last night, my kids, my wife, and I, we went to dinner, and we had a 20-mile-an-hour headwind. We didn't even get on the highway. We're just going like 45, 50 miles an hour down the road, and all of us were like, oh my gosh, it is so loud in here. It was crazy. The kids have resorted to noise-canceling headphones. When they are riding in the back on long trips, they have noise-canceling headphones on. Unfortunately, as a driver, you can't really do that. You have to pay attention to all the sounds around you, so you just get fatigued by this constant wind buffeting, or if it's raining, the rain on this roof sounds like hail sometimes. You're basically driving a tent around. Even smells, if you pass roadkill on the side of the road, you can smell it. It's just like driving with your windows down at all times. So yes, it's a soft top. It's basically a tent. But here's the other thing. We drove hardtop Jeeps for a couple of months before we took delivery of this one, and those weren't a whole lot better. Even the hardtop is a temporary roof. It's noisy. You still get temperature change. I did make a video about how this top is not so bad in freezing temperatures. You can go watch that here. But you do feel the cold come down a little bit. And when it's hot out, that's really when I feel it. The heat coming through this with the black top, you can feel it. So there are trade-offs, but the good news is, click, click, I can undo 2 latches, throw the roof back, and we're running around topless. That's amazing. So I wanted the soft top when we bought this. Not only was it cheaper, but I wanted to have the utility, the flexibility of just instantly taking the top off. When we had the hardtop Jeeps, I hated having to undo all the clips and then find somewhere to put the front panels. And then if I wanted to take the back off, I had to unscrew everything, find a place to take that and put it somewhere. It was just a mess. So the soft top, I'll take the trade-off of wind noise any day, but it is exhausting. It's fatiguing. And for long trips, I really wish I had a hard top. Before I get out of here and talk about the things I love about this Jeep, I'm going to give you a bonus loathe, a bonus thing that I don't like, because this is bothering me. One way or another, there's a problem here. Either I have a mechanical issue that needs to be repaired, or this is normal operation and it just sounds terrible. But the manual transmission, I've talked about this in a past video. Again, you can go watch it here, and you'll see that I kind of love and loathe this transmission. It makes me wonder if I made the right choice with it, kind of on the daily. But generally, I love it, and I think it's really cool that I have it. But it makes this noise that I don't think it made before I had the clutch recall done. It sounds like drivetrain lash. When I put the clutch in or I take it back out, it goes clack, 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 clack. You know, it kind of sounds like a box of nuts and bolts in a can, in a coffee can. No matter how smooth I am with the clutch or how well I rev match, it makes this noise. So bad that if I'm cruising through a grocery store parking lot, for instance, and I put the clutch in and I let it out at the wrong time, it makes a noise so terrible on the outside of the vehicle that people turn and look at me like, was that you? I'm like, yes, that's my $50,000 truck. That sounds horrible. It's embarrassing and it's frustrating, and it takes away from the enjoyment of operating this otherwise great transmission. So there's a few possibilities I think it could be. I think when they did the recall, either the flywheel bolts are a little bit loose and that's allowing the flywheel to chatter, or the throwout bearing maybe is bad. I'm not sure, or it could just be, like I said, lashing the drivetrain, like the drive shafts, but it makes a terrible noise. I tried to record it for you guys on this video. I just couldn't get it to, you couldn't hear it very well. So just trust me when I say that's frustrating, and I'll let you know what I find out. I'm going to take this in for its 10,000 mile service next week, and I have told the dealer that I have this issue, so we'll see what they say. And now we're going to talk about the things that I love about this Jeep. I talked about the soft top. I told you guys it was frustrating because of wind noise and, you know, the leaking and all that sort of thing, but I'm going to tell you what, you can't beat that. The flexibility that this thing offers in terms of fun, with the roof folding back and just one bolt, now I can peel these doors off, just take the door off, throw it to the side, no doors, no roof, and cruise down the road. There's no other midsize truck that does this. And I talked about it before, I'll say it again. This is maybe a better Jeep than it is a truck, if you haven't gathered that already. But one of the Jeep things that makes Jeeps absolutely phenomenal is this. I mean, that's it. I love it. Okay, on to the next thing we love. I thought about talking about the looks of the truck, and I guess by mentioning it, I am talking about the looks as a pro, but you know, looks are subjective. A lot of people don't like the Gladiators because of the proportions. They say they're kind of funky, and I agree. I think on stock wheels, the smaller the wheels you get, hey, you get better fuel economy, but they just look kind of weird. These trucks at least need 33s. The Mojave and the Rubicon have 33s from the factory, and you can see they look pretty decent, but really 35s are the ticket. So there's that. I'm not going to talk about the looks anymore, but what I do want to talk about is the ride. And that's number 2 on my list of things that we love about this truck. Thanks to the Fox suspension and the remote reservoirs, piggyback reservoirs on the back, it's amazing. It rides great, and it really rides a lot better than our 2019 Ranger. So the kids have said not only do they like the back seat better in this than they did the Ranger, they really appreciate the ride more. And Tosh and I agree. This thing gets down the road very, very well. When you're on the highway, I don't have to worry about bumps or anything. I could blast a curb and not really worry about it. This thing's gonna take it. We have yet to off-road it. Like I said, I'm very excited to off-road this thing, but just for daily driving, the suspension on this is absolutely awesome. So great job to Fox and the Jeep team on the Mojave suspension. Okay, for the next love, I'm going to get inside the truck because this is it. I talked about this thing being tight, and you can see here, it's tight next to the steering wheel, but overall the interior on this thing is absolutely awesome, and we love it. When you boot it up, you get this cool display on the gauge cluster. It's kind of a throwback, and the Uconnect system in this truck is absolutely awesome. Thanks to the Sirius apps here, you can get fuel prices, local weather, a weather map. We're supposed to have tornadoes today, by the way, so yeah, I'll be checking this map frequently on our trip later. But you have all these great apps available to you, and this is great information that is very useful when you're on a road trip. You can see here the storms are firing up south of us, so that's good. We're in the clear here. But anyway, Android Auto works beautifully on here, of course, but it's rare that you find a factory head unit like this that does all these things and does them so well, so responsive. The 2024 models, they have a huge tablet that comes out of the gauge cluster and comes over to here. It's a big, big screen. I think that's too much. I'm not a fan of screens. To me, this combination is perfect. The gauge cluster and this Uconnect system work absolutely awesome. So continuing to the interior, we have this amazing Mojave specific wheel, the bolsters on it and the orange stitching. I really like it. It's got the perforated leather. It's super cool and nice to use. The orange accents and again, the seats, the nice bolstered seats that have Mojave in them. I really like the interior on these, and I was ready to go on a Bronco, but frankly, I think a lot of the Jeep interior is nicer than the Bronco. It's nicer materials, and I feel at home in it. I just wish I had more elbow room, and I guess that's where the Bronco comes into play. Haha, I tell you guys, you couldn't shoot your truck review like this in any other truck. So here you have it, guys. The top 3 things we love and loathe about our Jeep Gladiator Mojave. What I want to know from you in the comments is if you have one of these or if you have a Wrangler, did you go into it understanding the shortcomings of Jeep ownership? And have those shortcomings been offset by the fun factor? Because for us, Tasha and I knew that we were getting into something that was imperfect, but we also knew we were going to have some fun with it. And we haven't even taken this off-road yet or done anything really crazy with it, but we've really had a blast with it. So I think it was the right choice. And I think if we had to replace this, it would be very, very difficult. Obviously the Bronco would be at the top of the list, but that doesn't have a pickup bed on it, so it's kind of not really a candidate for us. The Gladiator is just the only thing on the market that does what this does. So tell me in the comments what you guys think. Always love seeing your comments, by the way. Please do that. If nothing else, like the video and subscribe if you enjoyed this, because we got a lot more content like this coming up. So stay tuned, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.